So the Clipse are coming out with their new album. The new album comes out tomorrow. Tomorrow, by the way, July 11th. And people are already trying to step on this shit. You have people over here trying to leak the shit. You have people over here acting stupidly, going and trying to make a whole concert or whatever the fuck they're doing for 3 days over there, wherever you know who is. What are we doing? What are we doing? How's it going, Yatu Savas community and YouTube? It's your boy J Tom Reactions, and I am here with another edition of J Tom Reactions. Yo. We're here on a Thursday, mind you. We're here. The Clipse album comes out tomorrow. Then we have people like you know who. I don't think I need to say his name anymore. I've been saying it all fucking year. People like you know who trying to step on the Clipse album. How convenient. How convenient that you have your whatever fucking music fest is called on the same exact day that the Clipse album comes out. On the day after that Kendrick Lamar stepped all over I think it was the UK if I'm not mistaken. I think it was, let me make sure. It might have been the UK. Now, we speculated about this a couple of weeks ago. And people were saying, nah, J-Tom, you're over here. Why are you being negative about this? Why are you over there? What are you saying? Why do you have to be negative? Your whole tone sounds negative. It's because I knew what I was talking about. And I knew that Drake, sorry I said his name. You almost got me. But I knew that he was going to do something stupid. Not only that, but you got little people trying to call out the boogeyman. For boxing matches? What are we doing? For a chain? I'm sorry, this isn't even the topic that I'm going to talk about, but it just, what are we doing? It has kind of sort of similar to what I was going to talk about, but it's, what are we doing now? That's why I keep saying we're here. In this point, you have to think what goes through the psychology. What is behind Drake's mentality? The dude is acting very childish. Very childish. I don't like talking about this shit, but I do it anyways. Because I feel like some of this shit needs to be brought to light. And I give my opinions on it. And it may come across as negative because I feel the negativity of what it is that Drake is trying to do. I feel the negativity of what it is going to happen. Because it's happened before. The dude tries to step on people's projects. The dude tries to step on other people's successes to make himself look better. Yes, that is my intro to the video that we're about to watch. I was sitting back and yes, I was thinking about this stuff. I, in fact, I thought about this. And then I see this video pop up. Fantastic Hip Hop. I haven't reacted to him in a while. This could be my last video. That's what he said. I don't know what that means. I don't know if this is going to be his last video as Fantastic Hip Hop or if it's going to be his last video talking about Kendrick Lamar and Drake, and I don't know. But this whole entire shit that's been going on this whole entire year and last year is getting people tired. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. So, like, comment, and subscribe. Let's just get to it. I don't have any type of feelings towards this. The only thing that I do have feelings towards is just the fact that it's where hip hop is. And that makes me feel a certain type of way. If you like hip hop, you should feel certain. I'm not going to tell you how to feel, but if you don't feel a certain type of way, like you need to think. Why? I'm not telling you don't think, but you need to think about, like, why is it that this guy is trying to get so much attention to himself when hip hop is about to evolve into something really spectacular? Now, again, I'm going to just do it for the hell of it. You know? Go ahead and subscribe to my page if you guys like the content. But it's getting crazy. And I want to see what Fantastic Hip Hop has to say, if he touches on some of the shit that's going on, and if he doesn't. But let's go ahead and take a look at it.
Now, we're skipping the intro once again, and we need to get right into this, because to be honest, while I didn't even want to talk about what just went down because it is that bad, what just happened is really important for everybody to be aware of, and everyone needs to see how hip-hop just stood together to once again send a message to the worst people in it. Well, before we go any further, make sure to leave a like and subscribe so hip-hop culture can stay protected.
Go ahead and subscribe to Fantastic Hip Hop. Subscribe, like, and also share his page so he can continue making this amazing content that he makes.
We are at that point where things are this bad. And now with all of this, what I am specifically referring to was the big swing and attempt to stomp on the Clipse album right before it dropped and sabotage it just days before it came out. And once again, and for the wrong reasons. We are seeing Push and Malice continue to have trouble within the industry and be some of the worst treated people within it. Because now on one hand, while the Clipse album has already joined a tier of records like Good Kid, Mad City, Graduation, and The Carter 3, it is not for any good reason necessarily, but it is because just like these records in the past, the album had an attempt to be leaked and ruined right before it came out. But now what is very different about the era we are in now, as the consumption of
What do all these albums have in common? Let's go back. Let's go look at it.
These records in the past, the album had an attempt reason necessarily, but Mad City, Graduation. And while the Clipse album has already joined a tier of records like Good Kid, Mad City, Graduation, and The Carter 3, it is not for any good reason necessarily, but it is because just like these records in the past, the album had an attempt to be leaked and ruined right before it.
What do these albums have in common? Good Kid, Mad City, Graduation, and The Carter 3. These albums were albums that were about to change hip hop. They all had an impact on hip hop. Believe it or not, people. Believe it or not, Good Kid, Mad City had an impact on hip hop. Had an impact on hip hop. We wouldn't have this guy right here. Graduation. It brought in that sort of 808 style after that. That's all I kept hearing. I kept hearing that shit from the Black Eyed Peas. I kept hearing that shit from different types of artists. That 808 feel. Not only that, the Carter 3. The Carter 3 had a milli. It was when people were just straight throwing bars, just hitting people with bars. That had an impact on hip hop too. People don't want to see change. And when change is about to happen, oh shit, what am I going to do? What do I do? No. I need to step on this shit right here, right now. People don't like change. In fact, I bring it on, man. Bring on the change. Because Lord knows that hip hop needs a change. Bring on the change. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Do you guys want change in hip hop? Because I do.
Came out. But now what is very different about the era we are in now, as the consumption of music does not work in the same way where these leaks happen so often? Well, while back in the day a lot of these leaks generally happened because of fans or just people getting hold of the projects early, well, between artists that the Clipse are beefing with and the machine that they have decided to go against when they left their label, really, this situation is a lot more complicated than you could have ever expected, and when you piece together how the chain of events unfolded when the timeline got the news that the Clipse album was being heard early, you will see that this was not a rogue leaker or anything like that, but really this was a planned and meticulously thought out event to try and step on the moment that Pusha T, Malice, and the rest of the Rap Avengers are trying to create. But now, before we go any further into that, well, first off, make sure to leave a like if you have not already, so everybody can see how disgusting this other side of hip-hop is moving. But now, before
the Rap Avengers is spot on. What other way to combat and try to bring back hip hop than to bring the Clipse back, who have been doing it for a long time? Lyricists. The Avengers of hip hop are lyricists. You got to think about it. People don't want you to hear real hip hop, because then that's what you're going to be expecting. If you like it, that's what you're going to be expecting from everybody. Notice the shift in hip hop. When Kendrick Lamar came out with GNX, everybody was being barred up. Everybody was rapping. Whoever came out, whoever didn't drop music, were the people that didn't have anything to say. Notice that. The people that were rapping were people that have been doing it for a while, and they had something to say. They wanted to come back to this version of hip hop, and they wanted to show up and show out, and that's what it is. It's amazing to me. I'm seeing this shit. I get to be a part of the shift. I get to talk about it. And it's amazing to me. I get to be a part of the shift. I get to not only feel like I'm doing something, like I promote. Essentially, that's what we're doing. As reactors, we're promoting. I get to sit here and promote lyricists. It's an amazing feeling. And as a growing creator, I feel like I got into this shit at the right time. I mean, I was already listening to this type of hip hop for the longest time. When I would listen to people like Talib Kweli, I would listen to Mos Def, I would listen to Pharoah Monch, Chamillionaire. I put Chamillionaire in there. He's from H Town. I listen to that shit. One of the only Houston rappers that actually has something to say. The type of rapper that doesn't feel like he's just doing it for the money. Even though Chamillionaire, he says, I'm doing it for the money. The money is all I'm doing it for. La, da, 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 da. Yes, he says that. But he also talks about other things. He talks about ways of bettering yourself. Don't believe me? Go and actually listen to the music. And not listen to just the trunk popping music. I'm enjoying this shit. I'm only 2 minutes into the video. This is why whenever I make videos, I don't make these types of videos where I talk about the way that I'm feeling at that present moment, because if I were to actually get into that type of mode, my shit would be like 45 minutes to an hour. But when I saw this shit, I saw what was going on. I was watching Big Kish's channel and I saw that shit. A video that was showing about the other people I'm not going to mention trying to step on Kendrick's GNX tour. And I sat here and I was like, I fucking knew it. What were you going to do over there in EU, Drake? Remember I said that?
I go into who really is responsible for this and what was happening in terms of who tried to do this. What I want to say, which is good news for this leak and what they tried to do, is now that despite seeing somebody try to do something like this, which just takes the fun out of music completely and disrespects the entire, not even rules of hip-hop, but just how you should respect something that people put work into in general that they are going to use to support themselves and their family, well, at least now, while some leaks are so bad, especially in hip-hop, that it has caused albums in the past to get canceled or delayed, and we have seen hip-hop lose entire classics from people like Eminem and Nas for this very reason. Well, at least in this instance, for the loser and the team that was behind creating all of the chaos around the Clipse record leaking, well, for the people who were all pretty much Drake and Travis Scott stans showing that they were listening to this thing and the rest of us just ignoring it, well, what ultimately was discovered in this mess was that the leak was not even the actual record, but almost a decoy in a sense, as it was a super low quality rip of the album which was seemingly taken from a test CD or something like that. And it almost does seem like Pusha T, Malice, and Pharrell were aware that this could possibly happen and that the entire industry is pretty much against him, which is why seemingly with these copies of the record, well, in this leak, from missing songs to instrumentals, which we already know were updated, to confirmed features like Nas and Tyler the Creator not being there, and then having So Be It Part 1 on this record rather than the confirmed for the track list So Be It Part 2. Well, what we are seeing with all of this is that whoever got their hands on this album and tried to ruin the entire experience right before we all hear it, well, they failed on so many levels, as they got maybe a version of the record that seems like it's what Def Jam may have had all the way back in the summer of 2024, or just a demo.
So the leak was basically a fraud. Previous version of a previous version of what the tape was going to be. Ah, the Clipse are smart. Clipse are smart.
Of the record in general. And with all of this, and let's just remember, Pusha T and Mal
Hey yo, and they probably knew who they gave what version to, so they could find out who the fuck leaked it. Hey, hey, that is fucking smart. Oh my god. Let's go.
have been treated by the industry in their careers almost worse than anybody else. So again, it would not be too out there to think that they were ready for something like this to go down at any chance possible, because again, when we see that the features we know about were missing and songs were not there, and then even beyond that, based on what else could be happening, even the features we do know about could be set up as a distraction to hide from potentially bigger things like another Kendrick Lamar guest verse and
Yo! Fantastic hip hop. You are cooking. You are cooking. I said the same exact thing. When I saw the track list for the Clipse album, I said the same exact thing. There were 3 songs or 4 songs that didn't have artist names on it. Said the same exact thing.
even a Jay-Z feature, which is seeming like more of a possibility, although of course it would catch us all off guard because as the features have already been announced, while Pusha T and Clipse have seemingly...
Look at that. Boom. So Be It Part 2. MTBTTF. Yeah, it was 2 or 3 songs that were on there that didn't have any features. And to hide a feature like a Jay-Z feature or a Kendrick Lamar feature would be insane. And on what song?
set all this up to be a masterful surprise? Well, really, with how Push, Malice, and Pharrell designed this entire record, you could say that with the surprises and the constant evolution in terms of what we...
Hold on, I think I saw something. Okay, no, I didn't. All right.
all this up to be a masterful surprise? Well, really, with how Push, Malice, and Pharrell designed this entire record, you could say that with the surprises and the constant evolution in terms of what we know is on the record now compared to what was on here. In a way, you could say that between what they do as artists and then with all of the right side of hip-hop culture respecting them enough to not even go near this record and entertain the idea enough to make it actually take away from the moment that we're all going to get on Friday. Well, what we are seeing is that the attempt to ruin this album failed, and as Pusha T literally put out more signed copies of the vinyl for the record up for pre-order right when this happened, and they sold out very quickly. Well, really, with this very moment, it is showing in a way that every time somebody tries to mess with Clipse and this entire circle of hip-hop, well, they have some of the most support in the entire genre, and it seems like anytime another artist tries to mess with them, the fans only...
You know why? Because they're legends. They're legends. People know what the Clipse are. People know what the Clipse talk about. Very conscious rap. Do you want to be barred up by the Clipse? Hell no.
come together more and back their art up and make sure that everybody knows what it is worth, because this is how much we want this music. And really, in a diluted rap game, this is how much we are willing to support and stick up for the people who are making sure that the craft we all love keeps growing and thriving. But now with all of this, unfortunately, while this is the good part of all of this, and that's why I wanted to lead off with it, while the Clipse have been able to defeat the leak game in a way and are still going into the launch of their album with massive expectations and projections with all of the stars and moments surrounding it, well, now beyond the Clipse being ready for anything, when it actually comes down to everything that went into putting this leak out, well, there was a whole campaign that was seemingly made around this leak which needs to be addressed. And now when it comes to who would want to ruin the biggest rap album of 2025 arguably, and an album that Rock Nation is putting out entirely with their backing on a scale like we have never seen, well, off rip, there are 3 names who are all rappers who could have had a part in this, but I'm not going to waste my time on the first of these 3, which you can probably figure out pretty easily if you see who has been bashing Rock Nation nonstop and Jay-Z on the timeline over and over again. And now with one out of the way, besides from that crash out, who I just don't think is in control enough or even has enough connects in the industry anymore to leak something of this scale, well, from here we are left with 2 artists and circles that both would have gotten a lot to gain from in terms of stepping on the absolute rap cinema that is about to go down when it drops on Friday, and you probably guessed who these 2 are, and of course none other than Travis Scott and Drake. And now what I am saying here, while we are putting...
To be honest with you, I don't think they have enough push. When I said that, I realized Pusha T's in the Clipse. I was about to make a joke, but it's not the time. It's not the time, Jonathan. It's not the time.
The pieces together in terms of there being an actual campaign to leak this record and try to damper the actual moment that the Clipse are making. This is something that is real, and this leak just had to be more than a random person putting something out in the first place, because I know this. And now I really say this with confidence due to the fact that there was a weird rollout to how the news even came out about this in the first place, which was that with one of the biggest rap pages out right now in terms of breaking and reporting stories, well, they told us that the Clipse album has surfaced online in a post that was more strange than ever, as you couldn't even interact with it unless you were a member of their page, which is something that they have never done with any major post, and everybody is collectively seeing that right now. And now making things even worse and showing that this is all really set up even more, they just posted some touring data about the Clipse tour to try and push this narrative that they are flopping. And of course, as this is stuff...
Of course they are. They don't want this type of hip hop to succeed. They don't want real hip hop shit to succeed. Why? Because they don't know how to survive in this space. They don't know how to lyrically get in there, pen something down, and it making sense. They don't know how. That's why they're stepping on it. They don't want these 2 to succeed, thus putting the bar up here. Because if you put the bar up here, people are going to have an uphill battle to get up there. That's the problem.
That these accounts never put up, even when actual tours like Drake's last one flopped to the point that seats were open and it was canceled. Well, this entire thing is just a mess. And now seriously, as we now see, when you look into the actual ticketing report that came out from the Clipse, you can see that they left the group that released these numbers' name on the actual piece of paper, which if you look close and then just do a quick search, you can see that that is the group.
Cara Lewis Group. Travis Scott is primarily represented by Cara Lewis of the Cara Lewis Group for North American bookings. W fantastic hip hop, bro. What the fuck? W findings.
That is also working for Travis Scott? Well, again, something is up, and seriously. Well, with the timing of all of this and even how this followed right alongside Travis Scott and all of his Jack Boys 2 announcements, well, that already raises a flag to me. And also, now, as I know that other artists have done stuff like this in the past and used these pages to plant stories on their rivals, and for example, with the same storyline on these types of pages, and again, I don't want to use specific names and get anybody in trouble, but what I will say, and it's something that I have covered in the past this year, which should give you a little more context, there was an artist who was getting ready to drop an album who had a story from his team directly be planted on these types of pages that was
he who should not be named.
saying that Drake was thinking about dropping on the same night, which I later found out was an entire thing that his PR team put out. Well, now hearing all of this, and as I have talked about before, as I personally used to do social media for artists and rappers, what I can say is that in terms of the rollout of all of this and how they isolated the interactions, it is totally something that is in line with what I have seen in the past and the level artists are willing to go to step on one another. And again, as I have worked in this space and I can spot a post that was contracted by a team or group rather than an organic one very quickly. Well, something is off, especially as Travis Scott was starting his rollout for Jack Boys 2 and getting it into gear with a new song and then saying it's coming out in July right as his rival's album is being leaked. And now, honestly, when you talk about stuff, especially in this era in the industry where things are just so deceptive and quiet, what I will say is that when you look at all of this and put these moves together, well, in terms of purposefully getting your team to leak an album and then plant a story and then start a rollout at the same time, well, this leaves us with one group who was responsible for leaking the Clipse record, and it is the guy who was putting out a half version of his album to try and get the vinyls out to, I guess, compete with Pusha T in the first place. Well, again, when you put into perspective the context of all of this, it's either him and his team who did it, or it could be the labels who want this independent release and Rock Nation project to fail, but it is looking like this was more from a rival artist, just based on how the media was used to let everybody know that according to quote-unquote online sources,
those are good theories. Very good theories. It could be the music labels or the music industry itself, whatever label you want to say. Possibly all the music labels trying to step on the Clipse album. Instead of saying, hey, let's get our artists, try to make them better, and try to get them to collab with the Clipse. But they're not going to do that. What better way to get your competition out of the way than to step on their rollouts?
Thing about the Clipse, which was all negative, was happening. And now with this, when we just see rappers trying to ruin other rappers' albums, not with a musical counter, but again, with these lame and whack moves which just ruin the rules of competition and trade them in for these cringe gotcha moments, well, let's just say with Drake, for example, while I obviously don't like what he is doing and I am tired of his antics and what he represents, I would never support leaks or wish that they happened on his music coming out like what we saw in this attempt from Clipse here, because it just dampers the way that an artist can actually enter the musical arena on their own terms and compete whether I want them to win or lose. And again, when we just see these Drake fans and Travis fans for that matter now just have such a disregard for the code that has always been accepted in rap between artists, well, overall, these weird narratives and games that these teams are using to try and take down other rappers needs to stop. But as it does not look like this is anywhere out of sight yet, and to be honest, with the way these teams move, who knows what could happen next? Well, now, as we are still stuck in this era and limbo in rap where there's rappers who can't rap and fans who don't actually like the culture of it all trying to just ruin and what everything in rap has always meant and represented, well, what I can say is that hopefully when Clipse drops, they will really turn everything up when this record releases on its own time, and from there, they will sort out every single one of these clowns forever. And now with all of this said, let me know.
That was a bar. Let God sort them out. But they're the ones that are going to sort them out. Fantastic hip hop, man. You're cooking today, bro.
What do you think of what just went down with this Clipse leak? What do you think about who was responsible, what was really going on, and what the goal was ultimately? And do you think that maybe this was from the artist like I am saying, or do you think maybe the industry was involved as a whole? Because of course, as Push and Malice left the label system, there is a lot working against them in a way that we really don't see with most artists. Now, I can't wait to hear what you have to say about all of this. Now, if you made it to this point in the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It really does help me out a ton, especially on a video like this. And now, if you want to see how right before this, well, listen, I already saw that Drake and Travis Scott were trying to take down Kendrick Lamar, Pusha T, and this entire Clipse record. And from musical competition to cringe antics like this, well, they just started doing whack things, but they have more up their sleeves, which I talk about there. Check out the suggested video.
Hey, y'all. Again, first of all, W video. All the information said, come on. All the information said was spot on. Number two, I did not know that you used to be a social media guru for artists. Yeah, that's fantastic, bro. Number three, what I took from this video is that people don't want to see change. So they do everything they can to stay in the game, to stay relevant in the game, and not be taken out. So what do? They go and try to step on other people's albums that they don't want to see either, number one, grow, or number two, they don't want to be outshined by this person or group. The group being the Clipse. Those are my thoughts. Again, everything I said in the beginning, spot on. Fantastic hip hop, spot on. Hey, for everybody in the back, if you guys want to be a part of this wonderful community, and I am talking to you. Everybody in the back, yes, I'm talking to you. For everybody in the back that hasn't yet subscribed to the Ya Tu Sabes community, what are you guys waiting for? All you guys got to do is subscribe. That's it. Hit the like button so more people like yourselves could find the video. Comment down below. Let me know what you guys thought of this video. And then hit that noti bell wherever the fuck it is. This has been your boy J Tom Reactions. I'm out this bitch. You guys already know. Let's fucking go.